What's up, YouTube? Right now I'm going to be doing an install of this 3-piece splitter, and it's going on my 2018 Honda Accord Sport 2.0 Turbo, and I got it from a vendor. It's custom tuning. I'll put the... What's up, everyone? So just a quick kind of update as far as what I'm doing here. So this kit came with, as you can see, some screws to kind of attach everything together and some basic washers. What I went ahead and did is I went over to Walmart. I bought 2 packages of some bolts and nuts, and they're number 10s. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the drill and I'm going to basically drill out the mounting points that are going to go on the bumper. And I'll show you guys how this connects here in a second. There's a couple other spots on each side of the lip. So there's this one right here, there's that one, and then there's that one right there. So again, I'm taking the drill, I'm going to drill those holes out so that I can run this hardware and make sure that it is secure to my bumper. So we want to make sure that that's completely secure. I don't feel comfortable using just screws, because if I hit you know, like a curb or something just trying to pull up, I don't want it to rip out of the bumper. I'd prefer to have, you know, this hardware. I may end up using the original washers that came with it, but I actually bought some washers as well. The only thing that I don't like that I'm going to try to find a workaround for is in order to connect these 3 pieces, you'll notice that there's these little dimples right here, and the kit on the back side, these holes line up in it, and they did a really good job at constructing them. So it kind of just sits on there like that. But the only way to secure them from the back side is to insert these screws here. So I don't really have a choice in that matter. I'll probably end up, you know, putting some glue up inside of there just to make sure that, you know, the piece is held together. But for right now, yeah, you're going to see me drill out, you know, all the holes here. And for anybody that's interested, let me just show you guys. I have a set of drill bits, and even though this one's taken up, the one that I actually have in there, it's a 3/16, which is going to fit these number 10s perfectly. So I'm going to get to work. You guys will see what happens here soon. One thing about this particular kit is they did a really good job at actually molding it. You can see the contour that they have on this. And the pieces that I drilled out are going to be flush with the bumper. So, you know, for those of you that are, you know, not wanting to have any of those like little plastic spurs, don't worry about it. It's not going to show. But some of the cool things, you know, like I said, the plastic, it's really rigid. It's not cheap. Really strong ABS plastic. They even took the time to, you know, do the little notches. So when your bumper is mounted to the car, you have those plastic pieces that connect the bumper to like the lower tray. So basically like splash guard, things like that. So these cutouts actually give you the opportunity to retain all of that. It's just a matter of coming in and marking on the bumper where I need to be drilling in here. So I'll find a spot where I feel this is going to be, you know, mounted. I'll come through, I'll mark the holes, and then, you know, continue to build all the way across. Real quick, guys, I'm going to show you how all 3 pieces, so the 2 sides and then the middle valence connect. So like I showed you before, it has those little dimples that are built into it right there, and you just put them together like that. The set came with these silver screws and a set of longer black ones that you would use to kind of mount those. The silver screws are going to go into the hole like so, and you don't want to use the black ones. Reason being is because they're longer than what that channel is, and you're actually going to puncture the backside, which you don't want to do. I mean, that's where, you know, the lip is going to be showing. So make sure that you use the silver screws. If you guys come up with a different alternative to mount that, you know, it's definitely up in the air. I'm thinking about potentially using a little bit of double-sided tape right here, or maybe even hot glue just to secure it a little bit more. But honestly, once it's connected, you're gonna have your mounting points all along this, and then you're also going to have your middle mounting points here that are gonna be connected directly to this bumper. So, you know, it shouldn't move around too much once you have these screws in there. If you torque them down tight enough, then they're going to dig into this plastic piece right here, and you can already see, you know, the fit. In order to get it inside of there, you have to continue to exert force. So when you do that, it's going to bite into it. So it shouldn't move too much, but you know, definitely if you guys want to come up with something yourself to figure it out, it's totally on you. This is how I'm going to do it, and you guys will see the finished product here in a second. So here you go, side one complete. All I did honestly was I just throttled the trigger here on the drill and just kind of, you know, let it go in, dig in. Don't over tighten it, because if you do that, I mean, anybody that's worked on cars before knows that the little thread pattern that it starts to build into the plastic, it'll just rip those out. So once you feel that it's nice and tight, then kind of back off a little bit. I'm going to show you guys how to do this side real quick, that way you have an idea of what to do. So the first thing that I do is I hand tighten it in there, just so that I am secure when I start using the drill. I don't want it to just kind of create its own way or its own path into the plastic. I want it to, you know, go where I need it to go. From there, I only have two hands. I'm not using a GoPro or anything right now. I'm just using my phone, but I'm going to show you guys what I mean by light pressure here. So it's in there, and I'm just going to second one. See how the drill kind of kicks back? It's nice and tight in there. I don't want to over torque it. And that's it, guys. So from there, you have your full lip. I'm about to test fit it on this. That way you guys can see what that looks like and the process that'll take to mount it after that. Okay, so as you guys can see, I've test fitted the lip to the bumper. And some of the things I'm gonna look for fitment wise, I'm you know, when it comes to cars, things like that, I'm kind of anal about, you know, fit and finish. So I want to make sure first and foremost that it's against this back edge of the bumper, maybe a little bit forward of it, but as long as you clear that hole there, you'll want to go through, like I said, I'm going to mark down in that hole so that it's on the actual white bumper. And I'm going to do that for each individual hole that I have here. This particular bumper, the way that it's designed is it has like these little mounting points, so it allows air to come through. It doesn't really serve a purpose because obviously this down here, you know, in this section right here is covered by like the splash guard weather material, so it doesn't really do anything. It's plastic, it's flimsy, so it doesn't create any sort of downforce. But it, you know, I like the way it looked compared to some of the other ones. And again, you know, you can see the mounting holes here. I actually just played with this to see how rigid it was, and it's not bad. I mean, once it's all mounted together, then it's pretty good. And you can see, you know, if you look at the line here, look at how flush that is. If we're going to look over at the second one, so I mean, these guys, you know, for it being a Chinese part, don't worry about that. I got this one, I looked for a distributor that was in the US, and I got it within 3 days, probably less than that. I got to look at the shipping on it. But even if the part comes from China, guys, like 80 to 85% of all of our goods come from China anyways. It's just waiting on the shipping. So I highly recommend it. I'll throw the link to the vendor's description in the information down below. But let me go ahead and mark this up, and then you guys can kind of see what it looks like fitted on there. All right, so I'm going to show you guys real quick. Probably already know how to do this, but for those of you that have never done it, I'm going to show you real quick what I did. So of course, you know, you have your hole right here. And all I did was just take a Sharpie, I'm marking it in a specific hole, and just make sure your fit is perfect, right? So you want to make sure that it's tucked back as far as it can go, it's pushed down. So when you make your holes, you know, or when you mark with a Sharpie, you want to make sure that this is touching in its final position and you mark your hole correctly. A quick tip, something that I didn't do because I'm not a pro at this. It should be pretty obvious, but whenever you make your holes, just make sure that any of the plastic is moved out of the way. Something that I had to do off camera here was when I test fit it, started making my marks on the white bumper, is I actually had to remove the bumper, or remove the lip, sorry, and take out some of that material in there. And in doing that, you know, the fit and finish that you actually wanted, you're gonna have to reposition it again. So just make sure that before you mount it and you go to make your holes, or your markings, make sure that this is cleared out 100%, the mounting holes that you have here. And then when it's pushed down to where it needs to be, you know, you can see clear to the bottom there. I got the little purple mark on the bumper. I've gone through, I've done just about all of them. I still need to do this guy right here, so you can kind of see. And then my final one right here. So now I'm gonna remove this lip here. I'm gonna take the drill out. I'm gonna drill out those holes. And then from there, I'll sandwich the washers, the nuts, bolts, tighten them down, and then we'll take a look and see what the lip and the bumper look like together. All right, guys, so I got the mounting holes in. I'll go through at some point and kind of clean up the little plastic spurs that are on here. But you can see I have them all throughout the bumper. And, you know, don't worry about stressing out too much about drilling down through this and hitting anything. The only thing that's underneath here is a harness for your fog lights. Other than that, it's all free and clear. It's just all open air. You're not gonna hit anything, so don't be worried to give it some sort of force push down on here. You guys are good to go. So I'm gonna mount the lip, and then we're gonna take a look and see what it looks like. All right, guys, so the lip is on. It's fully tightened, mounting holes, and then I use some of the longer screws depending on the location. As you can see here, fully mounted. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on the vehicle, or at least in front of it, so you guys can take a look and see what it looks like. All right, guys, so this is what it's gonna look like. Here's how the lip sits. And you can see, you remember the channels I told you about earlier right there that allow air to go through. Again, this is a 3-piece lip. Still got that glossy finish. Don't mind the exposure. I had to change the setting because it's a grayish white day to day. And in order for you guys to take a look and see it, I had to change the exposure. So I'm gonna get it mounted back on the vehicle, and you guys can take a look and see what it looks like, finished product. So here's what it looks like. Just fitted back onto the vehicle. Nothing's been tightened down, anything like that. All right, guys, here's a finished product. As you can see, as far as ground clearance goes, you really don't lose much. Maybe in the very front, like right here, we're talking maybe about ½ an inch. But the way that the bumper is, the outside areas of the bumper, those are the lowest points. So as of right now, I know whenever I go to like a Walmart or a Walgreens, if there's any sort of bump stops, like the little concrete pillars up front, I can just clear them. So I haven't tried it yet. Obviously, there is one in my garage, but I don't like to test it out inside there. I always like to back into the garage. But yeah, this is the final product.